So it's 6:30 in the morning. I set my alarm for 6. I guess Hong Kong is now 7 hours ahead, so Lalla will be commuting to the studio. I've only had to commute from downstairs to upstairs. This is Rufus, he's my assistant. He's going to be helping me out today. We've already recorded the main session of the Doomsday Contract earlier in the year, so we did Tom and most of the guest cast. And on Wednesday, 2 days ago, we did the first half of Lalla's stuff and with Paul Panting as Smilax. So we've come back today to finish off. And we're setting, we start rolling at 7 a.m. Go make me a cup of tea, Rufus.
It's 7:15 in the morning, just rushing down to the shed. There we are. Right, so iPad with the script, computer with the schedule, and the Zoom connection. That should all work, shouldn't it? I've got an awful feeling I've forgotten something.
And
So
here's
here we
Lalla.
are, setting out from CUHK. So this is our view. We'll pick it up a bit later.
Take the first exit.
Say hi.
Done it. What a success.
Right, I've just got to start Zoom up, haven't I? Invite some people. Do you hear me? You can hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good morning, Nick. How are you?
All right, yes. This is how all conversations on Zoom start, isn't it?
Yeah. We've done away with hello.
David Richardson's arrived, but his earphones aren't working properly.
Cancel the session. My earphones aren't working.
There you are, that's Hong Kong. Nothing's happening.
One cool studio, huh?
And what's happening with Paul Panting? There he is. Look, he's making an entrance like a children's entertainer. Hello, children.
Morning.
Good morning.
Sorry, mate. It was a terrible commute.
We can only allow to make this joke once each.
Am I the fourth person today?
Hello, I'm Nick Briggs, and I'm the executive producer and creative director of Big Finish, also directing The Lost Stories, the Doomsday Contract today. Directing a story remotely, it's we're just getting used to it. I've done it a few times now. It is different. It's strange. It's nice to get together in the studio. I don't think you'll ever replace the camaraderie that can come from being in the same physical space. That said, I've been recording stuff remotely for Big Finish for years, because every week I do the Big Finish podcast with Benji Clifford. And we've been doing it like this for ages, over Zoom or Skype or whatever, and recording at our different locations and then putting the two recordings together, which is why I knew when this happened, I knew this was possible.
I'm David Richardson. I'm the producer of the Lost Stories for Big Finish. There will be no difference in quality by the time these episodes have gone through post-production. We put a lot of work into this. As soon as the country went into lockdown, we started looking at inventive ways that we could carry on in production, and we hit upon this idea of recording people from home. Everybody's recording themselves onto their own equipment. It's high quality equipment, so there'll be no degradation in the quality of the files. We're linked up over Zoom, so everybody can hear each other, but we're not recording over Zoom. By the time that gets to post-production, there will be work done to make sure that all the all the files are the best quality they can possibly be. They all match each other. And also, before we get to the recording day, we're getting test files done. We're providing advice to the actors on how to improve, better soundproofing, better mic positioning. So all these things, the work has been done to make sure we're going to get the best possible production we can.
My name's Christopher Naylor, and I'm playing a robot and some villagers in Doctor Who: The Lost Stories, The Doomsday Contract. This my recording studio that I constructed just a few days ago is a very small booth made from my duvet, suspended from the ceiling by bulldog clips. So it's very Heath Robinson, but seems to work. I'm rather fond of it. It's like a little cocoon or a sort of padded cell.
Also, we're doing a lot of really clever processing of the sound to make sure that the acoustics are the same, so characters will sound like they're in the same acoustic environment, the same spaceship or whatever.
Hello, I'm Benji, and I'm one of the team of sound designers working for Big Finish in lockdown to make sure that you have all the audio dramas that you need. I'm using a program called RX, which is made by Isotope, and what that basically does is it's a fantastic toolkit for restoring recordings. I've used it on a ton of different things. I used it when working and restoring on Captain Scarlet 50th anniversary box set for Big Finish. And so what we've been doing is going through there, and what it does, it very carefully picks up the different noise floors, because sometimes in a recording there's a background hiss, and so what we can do is we can extract that hiss so that the recordings sound crystal clear, or as close as possible.
Well, it's a whole new experience, really. I think we're all adjusting to it in our different ways. It's very strange. The commute is a matter of yards rather than miles. No trains or tubes or anything involved, and so I could roll out of bed literally and arrive in the studio. So it is very different. It's rather strange. Just connecting over headphones, being hundreds of miles or thousands of miles away from your fellow actors, and it's a strange experience.
Morning all. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes. We can hear you.
Wonderful.
That's all
What
good.
page do we start from? Does somebody know?
My name is Lalla Ward, and I play the character called Romana in Doctor Who. It's pretty much like recording an audio drama when the director's in the next room, actually. The fact that he's 6,000 miles away is a technological marvel, and it is rather fascinating to be able to work like this. But in actual fact, the work itself isn't really very different. I certainly don't learn my lines. It's one of the great joys of audio. You don't have to learn your lines. I think it's very different. It's a different way of acting. You're having to pretend you're doing physical things like running up and down and tearing up and down corridors and stuff like that. So you might be sort of doing, I'm running up and down a corridor acting and trying to get your breath and talking like that, which if you were doing in a studio for real on camera, obviously you'd be running down a corridor. So you're imagining it in your head, and to that extent it's different. And you're also using your voice to do absolutely everything, where on camera obviously you can use your face. So the whole audio thing is very different. I absolutely love it. I think some actors much prefer being filmed and doing it that way, but I love audio. I love doing these audio versions.
We aim to record everybody together, so that can mean we have 7 or 8 actors linking up on Zoom at any one time, but that's not always possible. Today, for example, because Lalla is in Hong Kong, obviously it's much easier to record her and some of the other cast in a smaller group.
Hello, my name's Scott Handcock. I'm one of the producers and directors of Big Finish, and I'm talking to you from my lovely home office in Cardiff, with lots of lovely Big Finish CDs supporting me. Working lockdown, I have to be honest, hasn't been that different so far in a lot of ways. Big Finish employs a lot of freelancers as, producers, directors, writers, composers, sound designers, all of whom are quite used to not being in studio and working from home. So, a lot of my time as a producer is actually spent listening to edits, in post-production or in pre-production, developing scripts or preparing scripts to take into studio and scheduling everything. So the only thing that's really changed is the recording process itself.
So we get the actors together, usually using Zoom, And we don't record through Zoom, which a lot of people have been worried about, but that's not something that we're doing. We get all the actors together on there, and we've sent, whether they've got their own microphones or if they haven't, we've sent them out. They've all got quality microphones to deliver a good professional sound. So what we do is we get the actors to record whilst they're Zooming with each other and the director. And so they can see each other, they can interact with each other, but they can't, but the sound is actually being recorded elsewhere. Once that's all in place, all of these sounds are then sent by the actors themselves over to the various people at Big Finish working on it. So I'm receiving so many lines all the time coming in from all different people. And my job at the moment is to sit down and basically go through every single take and every single line and try to get the best sound out of it.
The only difference for me is normally we're in a studio recording of them. At the moment, all the actors are recording from home studio setups, which is great. And agents and actors actually have been really good at getting in touch with Big Finish with recommendations and letting us know their technical capabilities, sending in voice clips so we can assess the quality of their home setup. And actually, our engineers have been in touch to improve their setups in some ways to make it better for what Big Finish need.
Okay, so moving on to scene 4, please.
Your species down to what? A few thousand people? A few hundred? And here you are scrapping in the dirt for the last piece of land.
Land means food, and there's only so much to go round. I don't want our kids starving.
The doctor didn't reply. He shook his head and went back to staring at the device in his hands.
The interesting thing about reading in slightly more often than I would is my delightful other half does occasionally have to walk past my office to get to the kitchen and can hear me screeching as various types of Dalek, which I'd like to say amuses him no end, but I'm not entirely certain it does.
The lunchers is probably the most commonly remarked aspect of these recordings. When I say the lunches, I mean the lack of them. I've actually been making fabulous lunches for myself. I clearly am winning the lunch sweepstake every single day. Yes, people have been muttering that they've had to make their own tuna sandwiches, sadly. But no, everything else remains intact. The camaraderie, the quality of the recordings, so that's the important thing.
I think people have to be honest as well during this lockdown and this pandemic, in that it is not an easy time for anybody. I'm very aware when I'm working on things by myself, whether that be prepping scripts or listening to edits, that it's much harder when you're not able to say to yourself, get this done and you can nip out for a coffee, or if you get this done, you can, go to the gym after work or anything like that. But actually, the recording process has been really good for, I think, people's mental well-being. There's something about interacting with people and collaborating with people that really stimulates just something in your head, and that interaction has actually been really important for sustaining sort of sense of normality.
Louise and I do email each other from time to time. I'm 6,000 miles away in Hong Kong, so I do keep in touch with some of my friends from Doctor Who. David Richardson and I keep in touch by email, and from time to time, John Leeson and I keep in touch quite a lot, who plays K9. So I do try to. They've been friends for a great many years. It's funny being so far away, and particularly, I think, in this time of everybody having such a hard time with the coronavirus, we're all in touch more than we were, because there is a sort of need to connect with people. I think we probably all feel.
At Big Finish, we've been extremely lucky, and it is just luck, that we are involved in a business that has some use during a crisis like this, because people are left with time on their hands and they want to hear fantasy. They want to indulge in the things that take them out of this terrible reality. And we are, just by chance, people who are providing that. So, not to sound too overdramatic, I do feel something slightly akin to sort of survivor's guilt, in that, we're flourishing here, and I'm still getting to do all the crazy stuff I love to do, despite... I feel bad about it, but also I feel blessed and extremely lucky. And I didn't think it would be possible for me to be busier than I normally am, but I am even busier. And, again, really, stop moaning, Briggs, but it's exhausting. It's relentless, but it's a good kind of relentless. And it's great to be able to carry on entertaining people in the way that we always have done.